Hello, welcome back to Learn Economia. In this video, we are going to discuss the answer to the question of how does balance of trade impact currency exchange rates. So, before understanding the role of this, we have to see that since a country has got trade relations with other countries, a country would export to different countries, a country would import from different countries. This balance, this transaction is shown in what is known as balance of trade, and this has got some influences over the currency exchange rates. And this is through its effect on foreign exchange supply and demand. It is the demand and supply of currencies in the international market that would determine the exchange rate. So when a country's trade account does not net to zero, that is when export is not equal to import, then we could see that there exists some kind of imbalance. So there is relatively more supply or there can be more demand for a country's currency. This is something which could influence the price of that currency in the international market. Coming to the concept of currency exchange rate, that is something which involves the value of a particular country's currency in terms of the value of currency of some other country. So exchange rates are quoted as relative values. That is the price of one currency which is described in terms of another currency. If you take the case of US dollar and South African rand, we can see that one US dollar, this is just a hypothetical example, so this is not based on the current value, so just consider this as the example only. Okay, so in this example, one US dollar, this could be equal to 11 South African rand. Or you can also say that an American business person or American businessman, he or she could be exchanging dollars for rand and would buy 11 rand for every $1 which is sold in the international market, and a South African person would buy $1 for every 11 rand sold. That means that uh, you have to pay 11 rand to get $1. Or you can also say that 11 rand is equivalent to $1. That's it. So how trade influences demand for currency? We know that when we are going for imports, we have to pay to some other country, or when we are going for exports, we would get paid by some other country, right? So all these are something which is very much common in our globalized market economy. These relative values, all these kinds of relative values are influenced by demand for currency, which is influenced by trade. That means that when you are going for exporting, you would be getting dollars, but if you are importing, you would be paying in terms of dollars. So this is because dollar is it's a currency which is widely accepted as a standard unit which is used for transactional purpose in the international scenario. If a country exports more than it imports, then what happens is that the country would be getting a lot of dollars compared to what it has to pay to other countries. So there is a high demand for its goods, and as a result, there is a high demand for its currency as well. The economics of supply and demand would dictate that when demand is high, price would increase because you are demanding for more goods. If the supply of that particular good is not up to the demand, or if the supply is not able to cover the demand, then what happens is that price would increase. In contrast, or on the other hand, if a country imports more than its exports, it has to pay a lot to other country from which it is importing. There is relatively less demand for its currency, so price would decline. In case of currency, it depreciates or it could lose its value, and this is something which can happen automatically. I hope you know the difference between depreciation and devaluation. I'm not repeating the concept here because I have been telling this in different videos, so I don't want to tell the explanation here. Anyway, for those people who are not aware about the difference between depreciation and devaluation, let me tell you that Depreciation involves an automatic reduction in the value of your domestic currency, whereas devaluation involves a deliberate attempt made by the central bank of the country and the government in order to reduce the value of the domestic currency. So whether it is depreciation or devaluation, the effect would be the same, but the only difference is that one is automatic whereas the other one is deliberate. Here you can, for instance, you can see that, let's say that candy bars are the only product on the market, and South Africa is importing more candy bars from US economy than it exports. Okay, so as an after effect, what you could see is that it needs to buy more dollars relative to rand which is sold. So South Africa's demand for dollars, this is something which could outstrip America's demand for rand, because it is South Africa that is importing a lot of candy from US. So this means that the value of rand would fall, and also the value of dollars would increase. So in this situation, or in these kinds of situation, we can see that rand might fall to 15 relative to US dollar. Now for every $1 sold, America would get 15 rand. Earlier it was 11 rand and now it is 15 rand. That means that the value of American dollar has increased. To buy $1, a South African has to sell 15 rand. So that is the difference. As a result of depreciation, this has happened. Coming to trade balance, we can see that the relative attractiveness of exports from that country also grows as a result of currency depreciation. For example, just consider the case of American candy, which cost $1. Okay, and before depreciation of the South African rand, a South African citizen could buy an American candy bar for 11 rand. Just by giving 11 rand, an American candy which is produced in America could be sold in the South African economy. But after this kind of situation, after depreciation, what happens is that instead of paying 11 rand, now the person from South Africa has to pay 15 rand, because the value of US dollar has increased and the value of South African rand has reduced. That's it. So on the other hand, you can see the South African candy bar costing 5 rand has become much cheaper by comparison. $1 now buys 3 South African candy bars instead of 2. Earlier it was just 2, but now they could buy 3 bars. South Africans, they could start buying fewer dollars, because American candy bars have more quite expensive, and Americans might start buying more rand because South African candy bars are now cheaper. Also, you can see that this is something which could affect the balance of trade concept, and South Africa would then start exporting more and importing less. This would reduce the trade deficit for the country, trade deficit for South Africa. How does a higher exchange rate affect trade? A very important question. So this is a kind of tricky kind of question. You have to first of all understand what is exchange rate, and when the exchange rate increases, what will happen with respect to trade. So when a country's exchange rate increases relative to another country's, that means that the price of its goods and services increases. As a result, import would become cheaper. And ultimately this can decrease a country's exports and increase its imports, because imports have become cheaper. That is why imports is increasing and export is reducing. Next question: how is the value of currency affected by demand? As in the case of every commodity, this particular theory, the theory of demand, could be applied to currency market as well. That means the increasing demand for a country's goods and services would increase the demand for its currency. So this would increase the currency's value as well. When the demand for a commodity increases, the price also increases, right? Because When I say demand increases, demand, I mean demand with respect to supply. So just consider demand, just compare demand and supply. If the demand and supply are equal, then you will be having an equilibrium price that will equate the demand and supply, whether it is in terms of currency or whether it is in terms of commodity. This is the common thing happening in the market. In the whether it is in the commodity market or whether it is in the currency market, so this theory is applicable to is applicable everywhere. If the supply is more than demand, then you can get the commodity at a lesser price. But if the demand is more than supply, then you have to pay more to get the commodity. That's it. So what are the factors affected by changes in the currency exchange rate? You can see the changes in currency exchange rate is affected by several factors, price of goods and services, value of currency, balance of trade, etc. So that's all for today. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. You can be a part of my Telegram group as well as Telegram channel to discuss your doubts. I'll be providing the links of these in the description box. You can join from there. So please pick it from there and join the Telegram group and Telegram channel, and you can discuss your doubts. That's it. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. And if you want me to do any of the videos if you want me to do any of the topics, videos on any of the topics, please do comment in the comment box. Be specific to the point. Please specify the specific title of the topic so that I can pick it up from there, and I'll be doing videos on the same. So you can make your comments in the comment box. You can do that. That's all for today. Thank you.